On the news, tension mounts as 4 Catholic priests become latest victims of banditry attack. Federal government replies U.S. senators on Christian persecution claim. And INEC loses over 700 ballot boxes as hoodlums raise commission's office in Enugu State. Well, many thanks for joining us on News Now. I am Folashade Ogurinde. In recent weeks, attacks on churches and in particular kidnapping of Catholic priests in Nigeria has seen an unprecedented rise. While the horror of June 5th Owo Catholic Church attack remains fresh in the minds of the people, 4 Catholic priests in Edo and Kaduna states have fallen victims of the nation's rising insecurity. In the early hours of Monday morning, a priest of the Catholic Church, Reverend Father Emmanuel Silas, was kidnapped from the parish rectory of St. Charles Catholic Church, Zambina, in Kauru local government area of Kaduna State. Again on Saturday night, police authorities confirmed the kidnap of 2 Catholic priests in Edo State. The incident comes less than 2 weeks after the priest in charge of the Kaduna Polytechnic Catholic community, Reverend Father Vitus Borogo, was killed on his farm at Kujama in Chukun local government area of Kaduna State. In reaction to these attacks, the United States senators have called for the redesignation of Nigeria as a country of particular concern because of alleged persecution of Christians. The U.S. senators also berated the Nigerian government over what they described as failure to take meaningful steps to mitigate deteriorating insecurity in the country. But responding to the allegation, the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, said the call was based on false premise and misunderstanding of what was going on in the country. According to the minister, the only known group that targets Christians is the Islamic State's West Africa province, ISWAP. He, however, said that the federal government had mounted the large-scale military operations to wipe out the criminals, and it was yielding results. To shed more light on the situation, Denise Macri, former Assistant Director at Department of State Services, DSS, joins me now. Thank you very much for joining us. Now, what do you make of this trend and how concerned should we be?
It's something that is very, very worrisome. And right now, of course, with what the Honorable Minister have said, I think for once I agree with him that it is not a Nigerian policy to persecute or kill Christians. The person doing this is the Islamic State for West Africa province, Boko Haram elements, and then of course other renegade Fulani headsmen. So these are the people doing this. And not actually, because Nigeria does not have a policy. Religious freedom is guaranteed by the Constitution. But at the same time, I would want the government to show more concern, where the government would, come out and pursue this situation decisively. Because this thing has been happening and nobody has been really addressing it. I know they have an interreligious council which has been, doing their job, but how far have they gone in solving this problem? We know that these renegade Islamic groups have been going around killing even Muslims, so I think to the outside world it will look as if Christians are dying. Recently, all the Catholics Catholic priests that they've kidnapped and the ones that the churches that have been burned down or attacked and killed, people killed, will show the outer world that this is what is happening to Christians. But the government have a responsibility to show that it is not a state policy, but just a group. And it should show by attacking those particular groups to make sure that they don't repeat what they're doing.
Now, the U.S. senators have called for the redesignation of Nigeria as a country of particular concern. Now, how important or how severe is this threat?
Well, you know, these threats are very, very serious when you are designated as a country of particular concern. And the United States government had gone ahead to wanting to ask Nigeria to be back on that list. Remember, when we were on that list, they refused to sell us the Tucano jets because it's against the United States policy to, do business with countries that are against certain interests of the United States. And religious freedom, freedom of speech, freedom of religion are part of, the American society, so it becomes very, very serious. When we are back on that list, some of the things that we are going to be enjoying as partners of the United States might be withheld. So I think it depends on the Nigerian government right now to make sure that they prove it to the United States government and the world at large, because other countries are also watching, that it doesn't have a policy of persecution of Christians.
Well, that's indeed a very important question. But Denise Macri, former Assistant Director at the Department of State Services, DSS, thank you very much for joining us, and thank you so much for your time. Well, still on insecurity, the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC office in Ebola, North Local Government area in Enugu State, has been set ablaze by yet to be identified arsonists. INEC's National Commissioner, Information and Voter Education Committee, Festus Okoye, confirmed the development in a statement on Monday. Although no casualties were reported, 748 ballot boxes, 240 voting cubicles, office furniture and equipment were destroyed. Meanwhile, ahead of the forthcoming Osun governorship election, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has pledged to work collaboratively with the anti-corruption and security agencies to check the trend of vote buying during elections. INEC Chairman Mahmoud Yakubu disclosed this at a special meeting of the Interagency Consultative Committee on Elections Security, ICCES, to review security arrangements for the Osun State governorship election. Yakubu also urged security agencies to address the issue of vote buying in the Osun State governorship election scheduled for July 16, 2022.
The Commission is deploying a readiness assessment team to Osun State next week to assess our preparations. We will visit some of our local government offices in the state, hold meetings with our staff, brief the Council of Traditional Rulers to solicit the support of their Royal Majesties for peaceful elections, and meet with the security agencies and transporters. We will also observe the mock accreditation of voters in some polling units across the 3 senatorial districts in the state to further test the functionality of the bimodal voter accreditation system. A few days to the election, we will return to Osun State to meet with stakeholders and for the signing of the peace accord by political parties and candidates under the auspices of the National Peace Committee. Arising from the experience in recent elections, vote buying remains a major area of concern. We appreciate the role played by anti-corruption and security agencies in apprehending some of the perpetrators of this brazen assault on our democracy. In particular, we are working with the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission to ensure the prosecution of persons arrested in the Ekiti governorship election. Action will commence soon, and the EFCC is conducting the investigation and will soon be completed.
The NSC also enjoined INEC through the Department of Voter Education for publicity to redouble effort ahead of the Osun State gubernatorial election and the forthcoming general elections in 2023. We also urge excess members to build on the successes recorded from the election, as some disgruntled politicians may attempt to sabotage the process for their selfish gains through vote buying and other forms of voter inducement, as well as political thuggery.
Following the rejection of a proposal by the military leaders of Guinea for a 36-month-long transitional period, Cassiburu said that the regional bloc delayed the implementation of sanctions. He warned that the Guinean authorities have to present their new transitional timetable for the return to constitutional order to ECOWAS by the end of July, a risk for the sanctions. Cassiburu added that the heads of state expected the new mediator to guide the Guinean authorities to draw a new transitional calendar by the end of July.
The head of state took the following decision. The first decided to lift all the economic and financial sanctions that were taken on January 9, 2022. That means essentially the closure of the border and the freeze of the financial asset. So those sanctions are lifted. Authority of Burkina Faso have made a new proposal, which is now to have the transition in Burkina last for 24 months, starting July 1st. So this is the progress that has been made. And as I said, with the freedom of President Kabore, the head of state now decided to took the following decision. First is to remove the economic and financial sanctions that were imposed to Burkina Faso on 25th March 2022.
One of the major issues that was considered today, of course, was the question of sanctions, the sanctions that had been imposed against Mali and some of the other countries that had previously been the subject of undemocratic takeover of power. And I think that cheering news was that Mali, the sanctions against Mali were lifted, the financial and commercial sanctions were lifted. That's just one aspect of the sanctions. And we expect to see progress in terms of transition to democracy, to civil rule again.
Back home in Nigeria, the face-off between the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has entered its 140th day on Monday. ASU had insisted on the University Transparency and Accountability Solution UTAS, if created, claiming that the Integrated Payroll and Personal Information System, IPPIS, was shortchanging the teachers. The government in March said UTAS has failed 3 integrity tests. The Minister of Labour and Employment, Chris Ngige, responding to questions from newsmen after the Federal Executive Council meeting, assured that efforts were ongoing to resolve the face-off between it and ASU and other university-based unions over payment platforms soon. He said contrary to insinuations that the government had ignored ASU, there have actually been a series of meetings between all parties, with the next one coming up soon. However, the striking union has since denied the claim. Well, to make sense of this, Dele Ashiru, Lagos ASU chairman, speaks to us now. Thank you very much for joining us. Now, students have been home for more than 4 months. Is there any progress so far with regards to negotiation between the federal government and ASU?
Well, I can tell you that we have a draft proposal of the renegotiated 2009 ASU FGN agreement. One of the issues in contention in the ongoing strike action. The renegotiated agreement had been concluded more than 3 weeks ago. There were high hopes that at the last Federal Executive Council meeting, the federal government will make a pronouncement on the draft document that they already have. It is unfortunate that as we speak, there has not been any pronouncement from government. That tells you that resumption of academic activities in our universities doesn't appear to be the priority of this government. And they seem to care less about the plight and the future educational aspiration of these students spread all over the country. I think it's high time the Minister of Labor and Unemployment be told that a conciliator is supposed to look for amicable resolution of crisis and not go on air each time making inflammatory statements. I mean, where did he get the information that UTAS failed integrity test 3 times? All the test report that we have, UTAS had scored 99.3%. By what stroke of imagination, other than that of the minister, would, I mean, a software that was adjudged to have scored 99.3 be a failure? So I think that the minister should be called to order. Maybe this is the damage he wanted to do by withdrawing his nomination to be president of the country and resigning from that office. So I think he can be told that a conciliator don't make inflammatory statement during crisis.
So in other words, are you saying that these students who, of course, have been at home for more than 4 months now, there simply is no possibility of they returning to school anytime soon? Is that what you're saying?
Well, that question be better directed at Ngige. What I know is what I have told you, and it is that we already concluded renegotiation. We are waiting on government to either approve or disapprove of the draft proposal that they have. Up till now, 3 weeks after, there has not been any communication or correspondence from government. As I speak with you, it's not only students that are suffering. Our members are also suffering. Our salaries have been withheld in the last 4 months, consequent upon a strike that we were forced into. And all of the ministers are collecting their salaries, including Ngige and the Minister of Education and the NUC Executive Secretary and everybody who had contributed into making this strike action to fester. But they have decided to seize our own salaries because of our patriotic struggle to save the Nigerian university system from imminent collapse. Let them know, and let Nigerians know, that it is government that is keeping students at home. Our union and our members are ready and willing to go back to work the very moment our demands are met. And as I speak with you, there are two
this is
principal
definitely a situation that all stakeholders wish could come to a very good end, with lecturers going back to school. But it's indeed a very, very pleasant conversation. And we definitely hope that the strike is called off very soon. But Dele Ashir, Lagos ASU Chairman, thank you very much for your contribution and your time. Well, still to come, Afrexim Bank approves $1 billion facility to boost after operations. Details of the story and more right after this break. Welcome back. Now here is a recap of some of our top stories tonight. Attacks in churches and in particular kidnapping of Catholic priests in Nigeria has seen an unprecedented rise, while the horror of June 5th World Catholic Church attack remains fresh in the minds of the people. 4 Catholic priests in Edo and Kaduna states have fallen victims of the nation's rising insecurity. Well, in case you missed any of our news bulletin, or for more updates, do log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Google Plus at TV360 Nigeria. On Facebook, we are TV360 Online. And now to COVID-19 update. Scientists in the U.S. have developed a rapid COVID-19 test that can accurately detect all current variants of SARS-CoV-2 within hours. The test, CoVaxScan, is set to detect the signatures of 8 hotspots on the SARS-CoV-2 virus that causes COVID-19. The researchers at the University of Texas Southwestern Medical Center in the U.S. tested CoVaxScan on samples collected from more than 4,000 patients. The research, published recently in the journal Clinical Chemistry, shows that the test is as accurate as other methods used to diagnose COVID-19 and can successfully differentiate between all current variants of the COVID-19. Well, we'll take a break here and return with more stories and business. To stay with us.
Opinions are free, facts are sacred, the truth is universal.
How, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension?
President must see himself as the President of the Federal Republic.
We know where the enemy is. 3 places, the Lake Chad Basin, the border area between Nigeria and Cameroon, and then the Sambisa Forest.
On TV360, we give you a complete dose of everything. Opinion, facts and undiluted truth.
I hardly believe what politicians are saying in this part of the world.
A new Nigeria is possible, a future is possible.
We delve into the issues, dissect it so that you can understand it, and use it to take action.
I don't think there's any need for any governor to look for grant for ranching.
TV360, dissecting the issues.
Welcome back. Abisola Adebayo is on standby to bring us up to speed on the latest in the world of business. Over to you, Abisola.
Thank you very much, Olashade. Welcome to Business News. The African Export-Import Bank, Afreximbank, says it has renewed its approval of a $1 billion facility to operationalize the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement Adjustment Funds. In a statement issued over the weekend, President of Afreximbank, Orama, disclosed that the Board of Directors renewed the approval during the 134th meeting held on June 13, 2022. He explained that the funds would help bring the aspirations of the bank within reach, adding that the board also approved a grant funding of $10 million to seed the base fund of the AFCFTA. According to him, the base fund will be used to mobilize grants to address tariff revenue losses and support AFCFTA state parties in implementing the various protocols under the agreement. On his part, the AFCFTA Secretary General Wamkele Mene urged partners and financial institutions to be a part of the adjustment funds for the continent's growth. Well, we'll take a break now and return with a review of the stock market. Nigeria's equities market kicked off the new trading week on a slightly negative note after decreasing by 0.07% at the close of trading on Monday. This is as a result of continued bargain hunting by investors. The all-share index decreased further to close at 51,791 basis points. Investors in the market also lost a total of 20 billion naira, which made the market capitalization to close at 27.92 trillion naira today. The record negative on the equities market was driven by laggards led by Con Oil PLC, which lost 2 naira 85 kobo at the close of trading. It was closely followed by Red Star Express PLC, which also dropped from a high of 2 naira 75 kobo to 2 naira 50 kobo, shedding 25 kobo at the close of trading. On the flip side, Fitsin and Learn Africa topped the gainers list for today as they recorded a combined 1 naira 32 kobo gain. In 4,899 deals, investors exchanged 194 million units of shares valued at 2.8 billion naira. Today, analysts say continued bargain hunting is expected this week as investors look forward to the first half of 2022 earnings season and will seek to take high-yield positions. On the foreign scene, the FTSE, the Dow Jones and the Nikkei are all in the positive. London's top index bounced back as it was aided by strong performances for oil firms after the price of crude jumped on Monday. US Dow Jones fell as investors worried about the twin threats of dwindling economic growth and stubborn inflation. Tokyo stocks ended high on Monday as investors sought back shares after the market's three-day losing streak, but advances were limited amidst growing fears over a U.S. economic recession following weak manufacturing data. But that's all on Stock Market Report. Back to Folashade for the rest of the news.
Well, many thanks, Bisala, for that update. And now on the foreign scene, the Democratic Republic of Congo, through the World Health Organization, WHO, has declared its latest Ebola outbreak over more than 2 months after the virus re-emerged in the country's northwest. The WHO's Regional Director for Africa, Matshidiso Moeti, in a statement, attested that health authorities in the vast Central African nation reacted rapidly to the disease, limiting the spread with a vaccination campaign 4 days after the start of the outbreak. According to the WHO, the DRC's latest outbreak marks the 14th since 1976, 6 of which have occurred since 2018. Well, up next is Entertainment Reporter News Now.
Newly surfaced images of veteran actor Kenneth Aguba have sparked reports that he is homeless. In the images making the rounds, the actor is seated in an unroofed shelter with what appears to be cooking items belonging to him. Popular for his comic and red-cap chief roles, Aguba has been in over a dozen Nollywood home videos. Since the viral photos hit the internet, the Actors Guild of Nigeria has come under intense criticism, with disturbed fans questioning the association's mandate. Although the AGN is yet to react to the viral photos, Nollywood actor Yul Edochie has asked Aguba to post his account number online to kickstart a crowdfunding campaign to ensure that the actor never goes broke again. Inkblot Production has unveiled the cast of The Setup Part 2 in a newly released teaser. The teaser confirms yet another heavyweight cast, including Kate Henshaw, Nancy Isime, Stan Inze, Lota Chukwu, Tokwe Olowoniyan, and Lillian Afegbai. The movie tells the story of Chike, portrayed by Adeswa Etomi, who has returned 4 years later, where she is forced to risk everything to go after a kidnapper. The movie has been confirmed for an August 12, 2022 theatrical debut. And that's all we have on the entertainment segment of News Now.
Away from entertainment and now to sports, the ongoing South-South National Chess Championship taking place at the Akwa Ibom International Stadium in Uyo has received positive reviews from stakeholders of the game. The 5-day competition, which is an initiative of the Nigeria Chess Federation, was brought to Akwa Ibom to promote the game of chess in the South-South region. In his reaction, the chairman of Akwa Ibom State Chess Association, Esio Udo, while lauding the benefits of the game, says the competition has created awareness about the game in the state.
in Aguba in general, is predicated on the fact that the consciousness of the people will be higher than what it used to be before. Just being an international sports, it's a game of creativity, and it's also a game that enhances the well-being of those who are involved in terms of intellectual property, in terms of even call it financial gains that follows. And I believe very strongly that if there is any game or sport that is so near to artificial intelligence, I think chess is number one.
It is fun, and it also encourages me to play more of the chess. Tournament has taught me that there are a lot of strong people around this world, so don't overestimate your opponent. To encourage parents to encourage their kids to play chess, because it helps them think better and also help them in their social life.
The competition very comfortable, and I think it has taught me to be patient. They continue to bring out this kind of competition every time because it's an eye-opener. We see different players, they come out, they are good, and we also learn new tricks for our games.
And this is where we drop the anchor on News Now tonight. I'm Folashade Ogurinde. Many thanks for watching. Bye for now.